Alright guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. Today we have a trip planned down to the Trinity River. Unfortunately, when we arrived, the river was a lot lower than I was hoping for. You can see some common carp and buffalo carp swimming on this flat right in front of me. I'll be narrating the whole video because there's some old footage in this, and there's a lot of underwater footage in which the audio obviously is not very useful, so yeah, just bear with me here. I tried to catch a buffalo or a common carp, but I forgot the corn. I left it at home, and I fished with a piece of banana, which they happily ignored. You can see it. You can see the buffalo swim over my bait next to my float, and just completely ignore it. So that plan was down the drain very, very quickly. The initial plan was to target catfish like this nice blue cat I caught during a session of targeting alligator gar. That's usually where I go here. Here you can see me in early spring. The river is up a lot higher, it's flowing faster, hooking into some alligator gar. Now these fish that I did catch are not humongous by any standard, but they're a big fish regardless, and they are a fantastic sport fish nonetheless. A lot of people from all over the world come to Texas to target these mighty fish. There's plenty of guides in the area. They will definitely be able to put you on some alligator gar action. But if you don't want to spend the money, it's very easy to find some good spots along the Trinity River to target these fish. Now I catch and release all of my fish. In this particular section of the river, it's actually advised against to take any fish for home for consumption. I'm not against taking fish for consumption at all, but just for these videos I like to practice catch and release. I do release all of my alligator gar. Unfortunately, there's still plenty of people who believe that gar are pest fish, and it's not a common sight, but it's seen too often, where a bow fisherman or maybe also even sport fishermen have just gone out just to kill them. I mean, I don't see the fun in it. If somebody else does, then good on you, but it's not great. Gar have had it pretty hard over the last couple of decades with the development of big dams in their river systems, and their population has been shrinking quite significantly. So where you can, guys, please release all your gar. They're a phenomenal sport fish. They're an extremely interesting animal if you read up on them. Millions and millions of years old. So please take care of them. Now here's the idea for today. You might actually kind of see where I'm going with this. I wanted to get some underwater footage of gar, whether that be long nose spotted or, well, definitely alligator gar, to eat this bait on camera. It's probably some of the first footage that's filmed this way. I've never seen anything like it, but it was a lot harder than I was anticipating because of this fella right here. He made it quite difficult. Meet Gary, the 15-year-old red-eared slider. He's called a red-eared slider because he's got red ears and he slides into every party uninvited, including mine. He's very happy to destroy any bait that's presented to him. I did see some bites on the float, and because the float was just bobbing under, I knew that it wasn't going to be a gar. A gar usually just pulls it under and swims off with it. So I knew something was playing with it. Then Gary also came up for a breather. So that's when I knew I had a turtle on my hands. Here you see him absolutely demolish it. And even though it's annoying because it doesn't record what you want, at the end of the day it still makes for some funny footage. So, oh well. Now here we go into a section where we actually get to see the first glimpse of an alligator gar being interested in my bait. Now when I first got this footage, I was actually watching it upside down because the camera and the bait had tangled and I had no idea what I was watching. So I flipped the image so you can actually see what's going on. But at first I had no idea what was going on. Also, the water was extremely murky, so I've been playing around with some filters to create the best contrast and colour. But here we go. Here you see the nose of an alligator gar. Now what at first might look like two little black eyes are actually the nostrils of an alligator gar. And I can tell it's an alligator gar because he's got that longer top part of the jaw, the shorter but broader bottom part of the jaw. Obviously he's picked up the scent of the bait and he's kind of trying to figure out where it is, but instead he's nudging the camera. So even though it's not exactly what we're looking for, it's still quite good footage. You see him disappear off, still trying to pick up the scent. Still trying to get it. And here he actually hits the bait and swims off with it. That's his back right there. Now I obviously got a bite on the float and I'm well aware of what's happening. Float's moving. I tighten the line to essentially pull the line off and it hits his back there. We'll see that in slow motion. You can see the scale pattern and everything to confirm that it was indeed a gar. Now, new bait. Another tangle, another turtle. I don't know if it's the same one, but it was another red-eared slider destroying my bait. Baits were flying out the window at this point. We even got some claw action there. It was a complete nuisance, but oh well, we got some footage to show you, so I'm not complaining. So, here I am down to my last bait, my last bar on the battery of my GoPro, and the last little space of SD card. And this is where it all kind of changed because the alligator gar had gone off the bite at first. And I was almost ready to pack up my gear, but then I literally had a change in the wind. Clouds came up, the sun kind of disappeared, it started raining, and the water cooled down a little bit, and that allowed the gar to feed onto the shallow part of the river again. Now I've had to adjust the filters and the contrast here because the sun disappeared. It became a lot harder to film, and the original footage of this you can barely make out anything. You can barely see the head of the catfish there, but this makes it a little bit better. I know it's very grainy and not exactly what we're looking for, but can't have to do it at for now. So a couple of minutes pass, and then at a certain point right in the middle of your screen, you'll see a shadow appearing behind the catfish. Now that's the alligator gar. Picked up the scent. It's positioning itself to see where the bait is. Now here you'll see in the left part of your screen, alligator gar move in, take the bait, and swim off with it to the deeper part of the creek, which again shows they'll feed up into the shallow and then they'll move deep straight away to sit in that more stable water. So quite happy I got this footage. You can see the gill plate there and the pectoral fin. Here I'm tightening up my line. The baseline breaks. We'll watch it in slow motion. Watch the top left part of your screen. The alligator gar has picked up the scent of the bait, and you'll see him moving. There he is, aligning himself with the bait, nudges it to smell it, and bites it. Very cool. He regrips a couple of times to make sure he's got a good grip on the bait, which is the shaking going on right now. And once he's got a good grip, he swims up to the deeper part of the creek, which are the sediment clouds along his body. It's him swimming along the bottom. Again, there's the eye of the alligator gar, you can see, and the catfish sticking out of his mouth. Pectoral fin and gill plate once again. Yeah, quite happy I got this footage. Not in the clarity and the best contrast and lighting, but nonetheless, some great footage. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this video. Watch some of my other videos as well. And take care of all your garfish. Alright, cheers.